2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host, David Straggy. At least one of them during this holiday season. But today I'm going to give it over to the sobriety brand.
It's unfortunate as it is.
So why don't you tell us what movie do we have in store for today?
Well,
What movie were we subjected to?
Tonight,
that's a good word for it.
on the episode is a sequel to a beloved film of the holidays that we have covered called National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2. Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. Circa 2003.
I don't think it officially has that national. Well, I guess it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, okay.
And by director Nick Mark. Marck. Yep, Mark. Mark.
R.I.P. Who's probably mostly done television.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler warning. We will be discussing many aspects of this film that could potentially spoil it for you. This is your official warning. You have been warned. I will hit you with a Christmas tree. So we have a bunch of people with us. Of course, the basic summary. Cousin Eddie, our favorite, not-so-bright, warm-hearted cousin, is given the opportunity to take an island vacation after he has a workplace accident. He hopes that an island-bound Christmas vacation will improve his family ties. But little does he know, he and his family will be trapped on a deserted island for the duration. All right, so I'm sure we're all excited to dig into this one. So I'm just going to go on to the side and go on down. So how about you, Forrest? Was this your first time checking this one out?
First and last time I am watching this. Oh God! Oh, I'm gonna need a drink. Yeah, I don't know. I see this was originally a made-for-TV movie that aired on NBC, and I guess they were like short on they were just short on something to fill airtime.
They weren't short on funds. They had a cast in this one.
Oh, for sure. I think this movie proved that you can't National Lampoon's Vacation. It's the Griswolds and Cousin Eddie. It's like giving cousin basically Cousin Eddie on his own does not work without the Griswolds without the Griswolds to rein him in. Not even the presence of just one Griswold child, which I'm surprised they actually got one. They actually managed to bring back one of those actors as they usually change them every movie. Not even Audrey was enough to save it. It was just.
Yeah, this was the film you came back for, huh?
Oh God! It's just the production value is bad. It's just the production value is bad. It's a lot of awful. A lot of I think God, it's like this thing was just basically a lump of coal. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can all thank. I want to say it was Talk Movies with us, but I'm not going to put them under the spotlight because I can't remember.
Well, whoever recommended this, I'm kind of saying I think we should kind of we need to return the favor.
But yeah, well, it could either be Talk Movies with us, Movie Collectors, Moe's Tavern, or I don't think it was Animazing Collectors Inc. They do They also recommended Blade Runner for next month as well. So, it's so they do recommend non-anime, but not this one.
No. I think so. I'm pretty sure someone must have recommended this for the law.
God.
It's just really bad.
And they voted for it for the How about you, Dave? Was this your first time watching this movie?
It actually was. And what a piece of
I would drink that.
You cannot polish a turd, can you?
Cheers for
It
this
does
one.
It does not age well.
Mhm.
I do not think. I mean, it comes from what? 2000 something, right?
3.
Mhm.
Well, I guess Gilligan's Island on crack, sort of. But with a little
Gilligan's
bit of,
Island was classier
little-
than this.
with a little bit of, I guess, Asian peekaboo. So
What? A little, it's like there's definitely some like
We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the characters. So, Dustin, is this your first time watching this?
Well, I only knew about this movie because I was told we were going to be doing it. And so this was definitely my first time seeing it. And it was so rough. I think 14 minutes in, I started watching a Jenny Nicholson video about Star Wars dolls. This was a tough watch. I am going to try to be a bit more positive than you guys. The actress who played their tour guide, she was good, I thought. Everybody else is kind of not at their best.
So, how about you, Jake? Is this your first time watching this?
You know damn well it wasn't. You've already inflicted this one on me. Sadly, I did watch it again to have it. I don't know why I wanted it fresh in my mind for this, whatever. But suffice it to say, this is a movie that, and I use the word loosely, that begs the word why.
A lot of different whys.
There's a lot of different whys involved with this one. Why did Dana Barron come back? Why did Eric Idle come back? Why did Ed Asner and Fred Willard agree to be in this?
honestly, the Eric Idle parts, those were the only redeemable parts.
Yeah, if you enjoy the beat the crap out of someone for laughs brand of humor, which I know some of us enjoy more than others.
I was gonna say you like that sort of thing. You liked it. That's a Coen Brothers thing.
He still needs to show up in one of their movies. I'd watch that. But yeah, basically, I don't blame this quite so much, Forrest, on your point. I'm not so sure that Eddie can't survive on his own, but I do feel that he would have been much, much better with a skilled director and a decent cast and a movie that had a reason for existing. Because I think in this one, he probably was thinking, what did I get myself into? I think most of them were doing that. Was it?
I said a paycheck.
Exactly.
I should, by the way, I just want to. I forgot to mention this, but after I got done watching this movie, I threw on the original Christmas Vacation just to wash away the bad taste from this.
I had planned to, and I can't find my copy, and I'm very upset about this.
I've got my copy. My Blu-ray copy is sitting, but I usually hold it until Christmas Eve as a tradition.
But basically, and at least I had the relative wholesomeness of the Santa Claus movie to, although they got progressively worse as they went on.
Yes, they
so
did.
That was kind of sad too. But at any rate, yeah, I will probably not see this again.
That's what you think.
That's what I think. I know. I'm going to use those words.
See, now, this is obviously not my first time watching this. I have watched this probably about 6 or 7 times.
Oh, my God.
The first time I actually I found it. I found it at a DVD store. Didn't know it existed, and it was like
The only thing I can say is that you must watch it for therapy.
Well, I have a tendency to watch bad films. There is something that I get amusement out of. And I saw this and it's like, well, this could be fun. It wasn't. I'm not going to say I liked it by any means. And there were reasons I had to keep going back to it. I wanted to inflict harm on Jake, so of course I had to show him one.
I feel like there was a gathering for that, didn't you?
Like, oh yeah, that was during a game night. That was a game. I think so. Yeah, that was a game night viewing. It wasn't just me then. That was like we had a whole bunch of us that just wanted to go through torture. Apparently, probably one of our late friends, George, probably spurned that on too. I could see him doing that.
I could see that. Yeah.
So I saw it multiple times over the years. I had to watch it again because I had many people request my review of it, which, by the way, my review of it has almost 1,000 views. So that's which for my page is pretty high. And I was surprised. But then again, I guess there is that curiosity. But to me, I look at this as wasted opportunity. You have cast, and even Randy Quaid has the potential to be good. You got Ed Asner, you got all of these people, that we know can do good and can strike gold. Yet they're not. I believe this is solely in this crap show is solely in the hands of the director and writer at this point. I really do think that if they had better things to work with, it would have been a better film.
Well, they were probably also hamstrung by trying to make a primetime television special.
Yeah.
And if they had gone to make a movie, they might have gone a little further with the humor, and it might have actually worked. It might not have. It might have still sucked, but whatever.
Yeah, probably a bad idea anyway. But
the bad thing is, though, I've just got to throw this out. One more pointed barb. This film, as amazing as it may sound, is not, and I shouldn't have said film, I should have said dumpster fire. It's not as big of an insult to the first Christmas Vacation as Paul Blart 2 was to Paul Blart.
That's a low bar.
You know, we're dumping on this movie a lot, but we promise you there's a reason. Once we start getting into the details, oh my god,
it is an infamous movie for how bad it is. How
unnecessary it was.
Yes. So let's go ahead and dig in a little bit. I got a whole cast list out here. So I'm going to go through them as they kind of appear throughout the plot. That seems to be the best way to get to it. So we start out with Eddie at his job, and I guess he decided to stop holding out for that management position that he was trying to get. But we see him and this chimpanzee, who is his work partner, because apparently he the best job that Eddie can get is being a test subject.
A guinea pig.
Is a guinea pig. So what do y'all think of this iteration of Cousin Eddie? And I know that he's kind of the same, but this iteration is different than what we see in the other movies by my thoughts. But what do y'all think? Do y'all feel like he comes across different than the other films?
He definitely seems a lot less intelligent in this one.
I feel less capable.
Yes, he was never intelligent, but he managed somehow to give the impression that he could get by. This one, you're like, how is he even getting by? Yeah.
How is he making it down the road?
Exactly.
He's kind of Flanderized. He's pretty much been Flanderized in this one.
And he got fired from his job because they were downsizing and they decided to keep the chimpanzee instead of him. Because chimpanzee was a better worker and more intelligent, apparently.
Probably cheaper than a human being.
Yeah, that would be the better way of saying it instead of him saying he wasn't quite as smart as the ape.
And here we have missed opportunity number one, because the chief scientist is Fred Willard. And this is right in his wheelhouse. And he actually was mildly amusing in the role. But he could have made that a much more effective sequence with a better director. But in this one, I got of all the members of the cast, Fred Willard was the main one that I got the feeling of, I'm already counting my money. he clearly showed that he was doing it for the money.
Now, we're also introduced to the real, I guess, one of the other main characters, which is Clark Griswold III, played by Jake Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like talking up to this girl because he's really smart, unlike Eddie or anybody else in the family, it seems. But he seems to be the one, like, kind of normal character throughout this. I guess the one we're supposed to all identify with. What do y'all think of Clark Griswold III? And they call him Third, I believe, throughout the movie.
Yeah, even though he's a Johnson.
I know, it's kind of funny that way.
I don't know. I just found him a very forgettable character.
Yeah, they didn't really do much with him. Like he was kind of hardly in it. Like he was there in some scenes to kind of rein Eddie in a little bit.
We were
he didn't
supposed
really
to
do much.
his view, and we didn't.
Yeah. Well, failed opportunity, as Jake would say. Another one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Brandon's right. He was supposed to be sort of the one that you were supposed to relate to a little bit. I mean, at the beginning, he was kind of just the snarky kid that, kind of looked at his goofy parents and kind of shook his head. And then later, he was sort of like a preteen horn dog. He kept hitting on the cute Asian girl. And then in between, somehow, I did like how everyone in the family, including him, were particularly proud of his eldest sister.
Oh, yeah. That's probably one of the few callbacks we could get to the original material is all these people like he's a barker for the yak woman, or these types of weird jobs they say they're off doing, the ones that aren't there. So I find that funny how it comes across. Again, I guess there's some ghosts of what was. But we do get home and we get introduced to his wife, Catherine, played by Miriam Flynn. Was she Catherine in the other movies as well?
She was.
Yeah.
She was.
She's almost unrecognizable here because she also seemed like a deer in headlights in this movie.
And we find out they're staying at Audrey's house temporarily, and Audrey Dana Barron, which came back to
temporarily.
Temporarily, yeah. And she comes back later, but there is this kind of odd sequence where, for seemingly no reason, the plumbing in the house. I mean, I thought I had plumbing problems, and I've had plumbing problems. I've been covered with raw sewage, the pipes burst, and all that stuff, but not like this. I never went to touch the pipes, and then they suddenly just cave in and everything blows up.
I will say that
was a bad sequence.
Definitely did accentuate the reason why I hate automated systems.
You talking about the robo voice thing for the
emergency plumbing?
Yeah. Yeah, what did they call it? Was it Everready? Was that what they called it? Everready? Yeah.
Now, I think they were supposed to show this by showing that Eddie was kind of accident prone, but did anybody really look at that and say that Eddie was the cause of that?
No.
When I looked at it, that's a crappy house. That was my thought.
I thought that whole thing was like excessive and over the top and just, dumping on Eddie in a way that he didn't fully deserve. But the saving grace of that was the response of the plumbers. I did think that was actually one of the funnier bits in the movie because it's probably something that I'm sure, Brandon, you relate to.
Hello, we are Ever Ready Plumbing Services. We will be sending out a plumber in 30 days.
Yes.
Please have a nice holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Eddie goes to pick up his severance check, and I won't be heading things as slow as I am now. This is more for character introduction. But he ends up having an altercation with his former coworker, ends up getting bitten on the butt. But of course, apparently he's been subjected to so much radiation, he just heals instantly. He apparently, in order to keep from being sued, they offer him an island vacation, which apparently was an open invitation because several people end up signing on, because we get reintroduced to Audrey, who is upset about the loss of her boyfriend. And but what did y'all so we'll go through these characters as they're introduced. And Audrey, what did y'all think of Audrey in this version?
I thought she was okay. She doesn't really have a whole lot of character in the other movies, aside from, well, I guess she's kind of the grounded one in those movies. At least compared to Clark. But here she felt kind of muted.
So I had something I just thought I'd put forward to y'all. Most of y'all have seen all the vacation movies, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen them all.
At one point.
I looked at this one as almost a sequel to European Vacation as opposed to some of the rest.
Well, that would be one, eh?
Well, I mean, including Audrey, because Audrey, the characterization she had was the most similar to that version. Because that version was always like whining about her boyfriend and her lot in life. And also it was the one that had Eric Idle in it too. So, maybe that was a common denominator. Maybe they looked at that one and said, this is the one we build on.
No, they were probably thinking, what big names can we afford? I'll bet if we ask nicely enough, Eric Idle will come back for a small fee. That was probably it.
So what did the rest of y'all think of Audrey?
I felt like in this movie, she was pretty much desperation personified. I mean, that's pretty much it. And all she had to do probably, because Dana Barron's not been super active lately, so maybe that was, she just had to think like, okay, I took this sad role. I'll use that for my character. But there's like that scene where she starts crying and she's like, I'm not crying about, or either it was her boyfriend or whatever it was that she said that about. She's like, I'm not crying about, and I was like, no, yeah, you're crying because you're in the movie. Yep.
This movie is the way it is enough to make most people cry to be in it.
I thought it was likable enough otherwise. It was just they really played up the desperation angle.
Well, speaking of wasted potential and shoehorned characters, Uncle Nick also seems to just at that time waltz on in because his wife has decided to cheat on him with a younger man. And he's played by Ed Asner, which normally I'm very happy to see because he is a delightful actor and very fun to run into. But what did y'all think of Uncle Nick?
Uncle Nick kind of wore out his welcome with me pretty fast because like they have the jokes where he's like hitting on their tour guide, and after like the 8th one, I was like, okay, that's enough of this.
Yeah, he came across as dirty old man.
I wonder if that's also another problem with this, is that many of the characters, either they're caricatures of who they were in the other films, or they are just flat 2D characters, or both.
But I do like how what is it, Eddie's wife. She
Mhm.
always has like everything in her purse.
Yes.
I mean, when they were on the tour boat, she found a pair of scissors, and that part was kind of funny. But other than that, you know, it was like, I don't know. And then the fact that during the plumbing incident, she kept asking for bigger wrenches.
She looked like she was the kind of tip charge, you know.
Mhm.
So, when we move on, of course, Eddie offers the vacation, everybody, and the common sense person, of course, says, you know, you could have just sued them for tons of money. So he's like, nah, I don't think that would happen. But they end up going in, and of course, they run into Eric Idle's character, who takes on the title of English Victim.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much the role that he played in this one and European Vacation. So, what do y'all think of Eric Idle's characterization? Do you feel like it's for those who remember European Vacation, do y'all feel like he gets the character back to where it was?
I feel like he's just there as I feel like much like David Barron as Audrey, he's just there as a wink and a nod to people who saw the previous movies. I don't really see what purpose he served at all for this one.
I didn't even get the call back. This is the guy they run into at the airport, right? And they like beat
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
This isn't too far off his character of in Casper, which was a few years before this. So,
Well, that character got a lot more to do though, and he was a lot
Yeah.
more hot. But yeah, it's a similar sort of thing. Idol has, for better or worse, built sort of a role of the bumbling British pratfaller.
I do like how even though the worst happened to him, he was just okay with it.
That's how it was in European Vacation. Though I do feel like in European Vacation, there was a little bit more of an undertone of annoyance and agitation in the character. I felt like I think most of the people tried harder in other movies. But I do feel like he tried harder in the other movie a little bit. You could see, I remember when Clark had come close after running into him a couple times, and you could see that like look in his. I was like, oh God, there's this guy again. Whereas this one, it didn't quite get there. But we do get to see another character, which I think one of y'all really liked, which was Mukalaka Miki, played by Sung Hee, which she is their tour guide throughout this trip. And the last of the characters, the major characters, and I'm going to be introducing. I'm not
the only
going to
character. The only character who gets some measure of dignity.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she's part. She gets some tour guide and then some part eye candy throughout this, or at least that's the way she's treated as eye candy anyway by the characters. And you get a good vacation stroll throughout there. What did y'all think about our tour guide? Would y'all have been hitting on her like Ed Asner's character?
Not like he was, hopefully.
No,
But
pretty disrespectful.
Yeah.
No, I thought her character was the best in the movie. Like you can tell the actress is like really trying to make the material that she has work.
mhm.
And she's representative of the company too, so she's kind of there to keep an eye on them as well to make sure nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
And things go reasonably well as far as you would think a vacation movie goes until they get to the boat that they're going to take a fishing run on, and find out that the captain is not there. So Ed Asner's like, yeah, I can do this. I can drive this.
Mm-hmm.
Famous last words.
Well, they do an hour later or something like, why isn't it the same as an aircraft carrier or something like that? And it's like, yes, all boats are the same. Yes.
I'm sure that there's still the same turning ability that an aircraft carrier has. As this says. But they end up being shipwrecked on a desert island and having to make do. There are various little scenes there, the hunting scene, the trying to build a house scene, the trying to contact help scene, all of this. The fact that they decide to leave the island, don't anchor the boat, or check to see if it's damaged and let it slip away scene. What did y'all think of the desert island scene? Because that's really where supposedly the meat of the movie is.
It was pretty bland. Like, he somehow manages to kill a boar, and I don't even remember how he did it. Like,
I think he was in a tree, and he had some kind of man-made spear, and he just kind of fell into it.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like, oh god, I don't know. I feel like, this movie's called Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure, but I feel like, we saw Jason spending more time in Manhattan in Jason Takes Manhattan than we did Cousin Eddie on this island.
Well, they make you feel like the island is the main section of the movie, and you're right. It's not very long. The island section.
I feel like they were trying to do a snippet of a Robinson Crusoe movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this is partly because of Robinson Crusoe. I think this is a frequent trope that has come back to again and again and again. As I pointed out in the chat, this plot was almost the same as we saw in a excellent Mizunikoku episode.
Yes.
And I think I've seen it elsewhere too. The idea that you're on a deserted island, but you're not.
Well, the most important advice when you're on a desert island?
Yeah.
Water is where you find it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Very good.
Call back to Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Indeed.
Which has a Criterion release, by the way.
Actually, I'm glad you reminded me of that.
What year does
That's not on that list, so that was not set in the future?
I would think that it would be because of the space travel.
Too. Huh.
Well, in any case, they do have some supposed character development because there were some issues that they were having, the family was having with each other, though it was kind of hard. I guess seeing it multiple times like I have allows you to see some of these things a little bit more in perspective, but I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to detect what they were really overcoming family obstacle wise. You know what I mean? Like, where the family conflict was. But did y'all actually see that basically where they had the conflict established in the first part and then resolved it as they got through?
Well, most of the conflict of this movie is simply Eddie is dumb. Look at him do dumb things.
Yeah.
And that was really it. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of clashing with the family in this. They were just kind of along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I consider this kind of an unfortunate movie overall. But the movie's not over yet. We have more. Matter of fact, this is where I had a weird. I had felt like the movie was going. This is something that happened to me differently this time than the past, and I'll ask y'all if you got the same feeling. So the end of the movie, they get rescued by this guy that Eddie helps get a concussion, so he has to end up landing the plane on his own with the help of a fairly incompetent tower. What was it? Flight tower operator. Yeah. And they end up, of course, getting things resolved. Ed Asner's wife comes back, and they just kind of decide that this is going to be the life for us. This is where we're going to live from now on, even though Eddie did have the chance to get his job back. And, of course, the plumber still hasn't gotten to the house.
Of course.
Now, that doesn't sound like much, right?
And don't forget, or maybe you did say this and I missed it. I don't know. But we find out that Audrey's boyfriend's wife is Mukalaka Mickey, apparently.
Yeah, it's actually kind of weird, because she also sort of hits on the other guy that she starts to like, and then finds out he's married as well.
Yeah,
it's just to me. I don't know. And again, I'm going to ask y'all, what did y'all think of this kind of wrap up that they did? I thought that something that seemed like it wouldn't take any time at all took an eternity to wrap up for me. But especially, even though, like, I would have thought when they got off the island that it would wrap up fairly quickly, but I felt like it took a long time to wrap up after they got off the island.
Yeah, it kind of did.
Does anybody else feel that way?
It did feel kind of long. I don't know. It was really strange because they got off the island and there was 15, 20 minutes of movie left.
Yeah.
But it felt like 30 or more. Like, I don't know. That plane scene was excruciating. Like it went on what felt like much too long, even though it was probably only 10 minutes.
I mean, the guy in the tower is like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you were on a seaplane." It's like, wait, that's the tower. I'm in the tower. Don't go. I don't know.
There's something about telling jokes that don't land that just drags everything to a grinding halt, and that's really what this movie is. This movie is jokes that don't land, and it doesn't. It's difficult to describe using words. Let's put it that way. It's difficult to describe just how poorly this movie does in terms of what it sets out to do.
What did you think, Forrest? Do you feel like it? I mean, again, do you feel like it went quickly after they got off the island, or do you also agree that it felt like it dragged kind of towards the end?
The whole movie dragged. That's how I feel about it. It dragged to get to the island, and then when they were on the island, it dragged to get them off the island. It was.
It was just that good.
Drag. I don't know, for an 80-minute movie, it just dragged. The whole thing was just drag.
Well, we all love this movie so much, and it's going to be an annual tradition from now on for everybody here, I'm sure.
No.
Oh boy! Actually, there's a reason why I haven't watched this since I last reviewed it, and it's been a couple of years now since I reviewed the thing. And I did not plan on revisiting this movie. I kept it just because the same reason why I keep Disaster Movie. It's a movie I will never watch again, but I keep it because it's sort of a reminder of what's bad in the world, movie-wise.
And yet you got rid of Mr. Jingles.
There are movies that I just cannot stand to the point where I can't have them in my collection. That one was just offensive. But let's see. I guess we can move on to special effects. Oh, did anybody else have anything else about the plot they wanted before we moved on to special effects or characters or anything?
No,
we didn't really have any effects in this movie.
No, not really.
Well, okay, we did have the pipes,
and
yes.
we did have the shark pulling the boat back and forth. Although that was shoddy CGI moments.
I thought that
Yeah.
looked okay. Like that didn't offend my eye.
And then when the boat pulled it back.
I think they spent all of their money for effects budget into that water scene at the beginning.
Probably a good chunk of it.
And the rest of it was getting named actors for the darn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like all the money was spent. I mean, you could tell this thing was a TV movie by the start of it.
Yeah.
There's no way this appeared in theaters.
Hmm.
Which is a shame because then it could be up for the Oscars if it
Probably
worked.
the Razzies.
Actually, yeah.
Also, considering that this movie was 6 years removed from Vegas Vacation, which was 8 years removed from the first Christmas Vacation, the whole franchise was just past the sell by date by the time this came out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the next time they revisited it was with that remake.
Yeah,
Really wasn't it?
movie.
But that wasn't necessarily even a remake either because
It was a sequel with they brought back Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo.
they kind of just they hinted as a sort of like a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
Which kind of went out promptly after they did it. But
Yeah. That one was a little cruder than it needed to be, but it was a heck of a lot funnier than this one was.
yeah, that whole thing with the lake with crap and stuff that did.
Yeah.
They
They accidentally discovered a bootleg copy of this movie, and that's what they felt like while watching it.
So music and score.
Okay.
What music?
Yeah.
I didn't really notice.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad necessarily, just forgettable. Maybe your standard TV movie schlock, would you say?
Hmm.
I don't think I could even say schlock. Like
It was like basically your Casio keyboard placeholder.
Does anybody have anything that they want to say additional before we move into favorites?
Not really.
But one key to being sober while doing this is that I can run this very efficiently and tightly because nobody wants to talk about something that bad. So let's end on this before we get to favorites. I'm just going to go through each of y'all and just the basic question. What is it that you feel had this fail? What do you feel like caused this to fail the most? Or, well, actually, let me change that around. What do you think could have been done to make this film passable? I'm not even going to say good, passable. We'll start with you, Dave. What do you think could have been done to make this film passable?
Better jokes for that matter, and not make it wholly about flirting with a tour guide. I mean, and maybe a little bit more of like Eric Idleness showing up like throughout the movie. Instead of him just being idle.
What about you, Dustin? What do you feel could have been done to make this movie something passable or good?
I think maybe better delivery and timing, because a lot of the jokes are just kind of like jokes, and it's like, you could have maybe done this in a funnier way. You know what I mean? Like,
they just didn't care.
Like I agree with Dave that it just needed better jokes. It's hard to think of anything besides better jokes.
What about you, Forrest? What do you think?
Better jokes and gags. Yeah, I agree. Definitely better jokes and gags. Maybe even pony up maybe they could have even ponied up the cash and try to get Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo back, even if they were just supporting roles.
How about you, Jake? What would you say?
Well, the biggest thing, really, more than anything else, is the background, like the production, I was looking at this. The director actually has an impressive collection of TV credits, but not anything like earth-shattering. It's moderately impressive. The writer is mostly a producer. He has only a few writing credits, so that might have been the biggest weakness there. If they had gotten someone genuinely gifted at writing, I mean, heck, they could have thrown Fred Willard and Eric Idle in a room and said, "Hey, give us a screenplay," and it probably would have been better.
Yes.
And I don't know. It's maybe if they hadn't tried to get as many names in there and spend a little bit more on the overall production, it might have come out better. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's almost like it needs a complete overhaul.
Yeah, I think this movie could have been better if the characters came across more like the characters. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but that is because none of the characters felt right. I mean, Eddie didn't feel right, and he was the star of the freaking movie. He didn't feel like Eddie to me. He felt like some sort of weird caricature that they drew of him. It's like, this is what we think he was like. Like someone told them about the movies, and they went off of that instead of actually watching them.
Feels like they found Eddie in some back trailer lot. He was fat, old, and he needed the money. And they basically were like, "Hey, we need you to do a movie," and he just threw a beer in the pile and was like, "Okay, let's do this shit."
Yeah.
No, Randy Quaid is known to be eccentric.
He is that.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't he like nuts?
yes,
Pretty much. He's kind of like his Independence. He's kind of like his Independence. He's pretty much what you see in Independence Day.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, and he's got a big bushy beard. But with that, let's go to favorite scenes. We'll start with you, Dustin. What's your favorite scene in this film?
Okay, so it's a stupid joke, and it's a really obvious joke, but I kind of liked when they spend all that time building the house, and then it falls apart when they shut the door.
Yeah.
How about you, Jake? What's your favorite scene?
Oh. It's kind of hard to say what would be a favorite in this one.
Or least bad scene, I guess you could say.
I would have to say it could have been the scenes where you're hearing the answering machine for the plumbers, just because that seemed like a nice little pointed joke that the movie could have used a few more of.
It's probably the funniest joke in the movie, I reckon.
Pretty close. And you know, there was some nice scenery in the later parts of the movie. That's really, not much else.
How about you, Forrest? What's your favorite scene?
The credits.
It's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
How about you, Dave? What's your favorite scene?
God. I guess my favorite scene, if I had to take one from here, was when the main character actually told his father that he was actually okay on the island.
All right. And to me, I don't know. I did like the start of the film because at the beginning, it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily know it's going to be a dumpster fire, and you feel like it's setting up something. So you think to yourself, maybe this is going to be okay. And that's the last point that you do. And so that was fine. So with that, that's all we've got for today's today's discussion. We did pretty good about our timing on it. And I hope you all have enjoyed that. And we'll be back again a little bit later on Inside Movies Galore for The Santa Claus, which is a slightly better film, but only by like that much. And I'll give to Dave to wrap us up.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Like we said, join us on our other channel for the rest of the season's greetings that we'll be sharing with you with our next episode with the Santa Claus. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. And good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.
Oh, this was a quick one.
Yeah.
And Dave's gone.
Yep, he is gone.
And we're still live because he's gone. And we can't
Oh, my.
shut it off. We can't. Jane, stop.